Dear friends, welcome to the NIOS studio. In this video, we are going to talk about pioneers of contemporary Indian art. At the beginning of 19th century, under the influence of the British Raj, Indian art displayed a general decline. The craft and techniques of fresco and miniature paintings, which were unique in the history of art, were nearly lost. Miniatures were ousted by European oil painting. Towards the turn of the century, traditional Indian painting faded out, and it was the time for Indian artists to look at their heritage with positive approach and advance from the earlier European colonial art. Raja Ravi Verma of Kerala was famous for his paintings of mythological subjects and portraits. His works showed Western influence in his oil paintings. On the other hand, Abanindranath Tagore tried to recreate a new style in painting. Nandalal Bose, Binod Bihari, and few others followed this newly awakened sense of nationalism. Thus emerged the Bengal school in the first half of 20th century. For subjects, they found their inspiration from Indian classics and mythology. They rejected the Western realism and preferred to use idealism of Indian art. Jamini Roy gave a modern form to folk art, and Rabindranath Tagore introduced expression in his paintings. These artists experimented with traditional watercolor techniques using Indian and Chinese styles, and also sought inspiration from miniatures, frescoes, and folk art. Later, artists like Amrita Shergill drew on both Western and Indian traditions. Her contribution in the field of art retains her unique position as the first lady of the modern Indian art. All these artists produced remarkable works in the history of contemporary Indian art. The objectives of this lesson to help the learner to describe the evolution of modern art movements in India and explain characteristic features of the enlisted painting. The learners will be able to state the name of methods and materials, sizes, themes and places of enlisted paintings. They will be able to tell the names of the artists of enlisted paintings and identify the works of enlisted artists. Now, we will appreciate one work of Raja Ravi Verma, titled Hansha Damayanti. Raja Ravi Verma is one of the most celebrated painters of India. His life began in a small village of Kilimanur, Kerala. Ravi Verma's vision as an artist was revolutionary in his contribution to Indian art. A popular and significant artist of his time, he was a prominent representative of Europeanized school of Indian artists. He gained reputation from his water and oil color techniques. Vast panorama of India's mythology is portrayed in series of his works that mostly project the heroines as the central figure. His paintings of Indian divinities still survive in many homes and shrines. His works are still visible in prints, calendars, posters, and other popular arts and oleographs. Ravi Verma is particularly noted for his paintings depicting episodes from story of Dushyant Shakuntala, Nala Damayanti, and from the epic Mahabharata. Hansha Damayanti is one of the most famous works of Raja Ravi Verma. It was painted in 1899 in oil, and it created sensation when first displayed at the Madras Fine Arts Exhibition. The Western technique which Ravi Verma mastered is clearly visible in this painting. The power and forceful expression of European painting fascinated him, which came across to him as strikingly contrasting to stylized Indian artwork. The painting depicts Damayanti, the most beautiful of Ravi Verma's women, who was portrayed as very shapely and graceful. She is wearing a beautiful red sari, lovingly listening to messages from her lover Nala, narrated by the swan. Hansha talks about Nala and expresses Nala's love for her. The painting shows the silent love of her heart expressing itself in the sparkle of her eyes and the glow of her cheeks, tender, dignified, and lovely, that makes her so fascinating. The standing figure of Damayanti and her posture itself is very suggestive of the theme Ravi Verma selected. He used oil colors in this work. Also, because of the Western influence in his painting, he has shown his excellence in the color combination and technique. He provided a vital link between the traditional Indian art and the contemporary, between the Tanjavur school and Western academic realism. Ravi Verma is considered not only one of India's greatest artists, but also a great patriot. Raja Ravi Verma breathed his last on 2nd October 1906. Let us appreciate one of the most important contemporary painters of India, Amrita Shergill. The title of her painting is Brahmacharis. Amrita Shergill's appearance is a great event in the history of contemporary 20th century art in India. Born in 1913, her parents were Sardar Umrao Singh Shergill and Lady Atoniat a Hungarian national. Amrita spent her early years in Europe and had the best of art education in Paris. She was highly influenced by post-impressionist painters, including Modigliani, and Gauguin. She came to India in 1921, drew inspiration from the exquisite little miniatures of Kangra and frescoes of Ajanta. The figures she drew with expressions on their faces were her own invention. Amrita's paintings were not mere reproductions of what she saw around her, but visions born out of the coordination of color, design and emotion. Visit to South India inspired her to produce the most remarkable works such as The Bride's Toilet, The Brahmacharis, and South Indian villagers going to market. The Brahmacharis, which was painted in 1938, is a fine example of her understanding of the Hindu faith, which is still prevalent in the traditionalist South India. The painting shows 5 male figures. She saw the Brahmachari students in an ashram. She succeeded in expressing the simplicity of these young Brahmin students as symbols of devotion in the Hindu faith. The painting is composed on a horizontal plan with vertical placement of the figures. Stress was laid on the variety of color of the bodies. A deep red background, white dhotis and neutral foreground of greenish grey do not disturb the calmness of the whole composition. The dhotis have variation of whites, though different, but so subtle that it gives an impression of uniformity. The off-white of the central figure with black and brown bodies around against the deep red background are used with skill. Amrita Shergill is remembered for her paintings done just over a period of 7 years, but the passion with which she handled the brush and the genius with which she combined her training in the West and her view of the East made her most popular. The sincerity of her subject and the uses of colors bring to Amrita's paintings a quality of timelessness. Most of our paintings reflect her love for the country, and more importantly, her response to the life of its people. She was the youngest among the pioneers of contemporary movement and the most short-lived. The artist we are going to appreciate is and the painting titled The Atrium. He was born in 1867 in the Tagore family in Kolkata. He was a leading figure in contemporary Indian painters. His important works from 1910 to 1921 were the sketches of the Himalayas. The life of Chaitanya through art in a sequence and wonderful drawings depicting the Indian life. On one hand, he supported his brother Abanindranath and on the other hand, he showed his inclination towards Cubist school in Europe. Later in his career, he developed a distinct style of his own and his own brand of Cubism. The core of Cubism was to expose in abstract geometric structures he developed his technique after a long period of experimentation. He overlapped the flattened geometrical shadow shapes of color to create a mystery world. He was definitely a master of beautiful composition. He painted images with a dramatic play of light and shade, using geometrical forms and simplified figures. He never blindly imitated the Western art style. He was also a great critic of his time, and his social cartoons were very popular. His cartoons reflected his treatment of the scenes of Kolkata and the funny side of the life of its citizen. He is best known for his political cartoons and social satires on westernized Bengalis. One of his paintings, the Atrium, is a remarkable work and a fine example of Cubist influence on his work. Cubism is the style in art in which objects are represented by putting together geometrical forms, and he incorporated this in his works. He created this work with his cubistically broken forms like cubist. This painting particularly shows a fine blend of light and created a dramatic effect with colors. Though in most of his earlier works he used multitude of colors, but in this one he has used various shades and tints. The whole composition looks like a combination of various geometrical shapes put together. This work could easily be understood, though there is abstraction in the shapes. There was not any artist at that time to experiment with this Western concept. He is still regarded as an artist who made several experiments. He passed away in 1938, but his memory lives on in his paintings and sketches. Let us see what we have learnt so far from this lesson. Modern Indian art is very much related to the history of the country and social conditions in which the artist developed their styles. We see the growth of different schools after the decline of British Raj. The British period produced significant works under the Company School. The Indian artists followed the European techniques in their paintings. Artists like Raja Ravi Verma served as a bridge to revive Indian subjects, but followed Western style. Later, the Bengal school established in Shantiniketan served as a center of artistic development. Artists of various backgrounds came together to give a new dimension to Indian art. They either followed Western style or Far Eastern techniques, but they somehow were able to project their own individual style. Abanindranath Tagore and his disciples contributed on a large scale. Nandalal Bose, Jamini Roy, D.P. Rai Chaudhuri and others have left their marks in the history of Indian art. Bengal school provided a starting point to the movement to the contemporary Indian art. The best and most individualistic painter was probably Amrita Shergill. Though she did not follow any Indian school, she was able to produce a good number of remarkable works within a short period of 7 years. The technique, the choice of subjects, and the desire to bring forward the true Indian life through their works were well received by the next generation. Dear friends, I hope you have understood a lot from the video. This video has explained about pioneers of contemporary Indian art. For any kind of learning support, you can contact us at our helpline number 1200-180-9393. For more information, log on to www.nios.ac.in. Thank you, friends.